12, and today we have a new Arcane rap cipher from Camsteady. It features Chi-Chi, Shwabadi, and more. There's probably a lot of people involved in this, since this is all of Arcane League of Legends Season 2. So let's see, we've got Furfur Lashara, Matt Foyo, Ham Sandwich, Asterisk, Hala CG. This is fitting that Hala CG is playing Caitlyn, because Hala just released a Caitlyn song, which I'll be reacting to soon. Freshy Canal, Zach B, Connor Quest. Yeah, there's a lot of people here. So I'm very much excited. I'm very excited to see what they've decided to put together here, because Arcane, easily the best animated show of all time. I will not take any slander for that. Okay? Like, in terms of like production quality, animation style, everything, you may not necessarily like League of Legends, you may not like Arcane specifically. No one can dispute that Arcane has the best animation out there. Even better than the Spider-Verse films, and that's saying something. So, yeah, I am very much looking forward to what they've put together here in this cipher. Link will be in the description below if you want to watch this without my commentary, because we'll be pausing and we'll be talking about it. And also down below is a link to my Patreon, where I react to various TV shows such as Skeleton Crew, Dr. Stone, Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, and soon Delicious in Dungeon, because that won the poll that I had up like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, look forward to that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started.
Yeah, bitch, I'm a monster, forced to be reckoned with on the roster. Foster, I used to protect you, but then I lost it. Often, I never felt threatened with you in cockpit. One more round, I'm a kid and need to be cautious.
First of all, I like how Asterisk decided to come in with this. I'm already liking the flow and the vibe of this. But the thing that I noticed first and foremost, I like the fact that they decided to base the visuals around League of Legends. Like, this looks very reminiscent of something you'd see in the game. So I really enjoy that. And I think this artwork is for League of Legends, like the new skin that they came out with for Arcane Vi in League of Legends. So I like the tie-in between the game and the show, since the game has its own lore and the lore is messy, and technically the show is canon. That is the lore of the show, of the game, is what happens in the show. So I enjoy this. I enjoy like the tie-ins between the two to make it a little bit more solidified.
Yeah, bitch, I'm a monster, forced to be reckoned with on the roster. Foster, I used to protect you, but then I lost it. Often, I never felt threatened with you in cockpit. One more round, I'm a kid and need to be cautious. Honest, you bitches mad at me cause I don't count my losses. You couldn't step to me cause you don't know what loss is. Sick rich bitch, think you big with, keep on fucking with me, I promise you know what cost this. I'm gonna start a revolution. There's nothing in it without me, I know. You could be part of the solution.
I like that. I like that bar. V for Vendetta is one of my favorite movies, so like I really enjoyed that.
There's nothing in it without me, I know. You could be part of the solution. We let this powder keg and watch it blow. Oh, fire in the hole. Run away together, we can make it on our own. Don't go, babe, I told you so. Start to feel like Alice, how I'm holding up the globe.
Okay, before we get into Caitlyn, because I'm really excited to see what Hala does for Caitlyn. I have not reacted to Hala's Caitlyn song yet, so I'm curious to see if there's going to be parallels between the two. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. One thing I will say, though, is Asterisk, they did a fantastic job of really encompassing the aggressiveness of Vi. One thing that I mentioned in Hala's Vi song was that not a lot of artists cover like Vi's emotional side. And I felt like that there were a few hints of that in this particular verse, but it was definitely more about Vi being a badass, which is not in any way, shape, or form a bad thing. Like, that is the most recognizable trait about Vi, is the fact that she is a badass. So I do really enjoy how Asterisk decided to approach that. I do wish there was a little bit more of the emotional, vulnerable side about Vi, but most people, when they think about Vi, they're thinking about the fact that she's got big gauntlets and punches people. So I understand why the rap more deviated towards that. And what they did with the verse was spot on. Like, that felt like Vi was rapping, and that was really cool. And that last line there really cements the pressure that Vi put on herself about feeling like she had to, like, basically do all of this to basically, like, help the Undercity rise up from Piltover, to help Zaun rise up from Piltover. And the fact that that line was partnered and paired with this scene from season 1 of Arcane, when Vi was like, we'll show them, you know, we'll show all of them. Like, that was a perfect pairing right there. Between the lyrics, the way it was sung, and this scene being shown when it's being sung, that was expertly done.
Hunting through the streets, find me on my warpath. Martial law, what I saw calls for a bloodbath. Make them pay her for head, I'll save the day, shoot them dead. Let you get away with your crimes, or you can taste the lead. Strike team, traded for armies, but you are who armed me. Harm family can't be forgiven. One solution, don't care what others think. I'll do what we have to do, I'll step far beyond the brink.
I like the rhyme scheme Hall is approaching with Caitlyn with this. It kind of got a little off track on the last couple of bars. I'm going to rewind to the very beginning of this, so that way I'm like locking in with what's going on. Cause like, I felt like it got a little off beat and then like stumbled to catch up. I've noted that in previous like raps, where if you get off beat and then you have to like stumble to get back on beat, or at least that's what it sounds like to me, is it sounds like you said something either too slow or too quickly, and then you have to like change your flow to make sure that the end of the next line returns to the beat. Sometimes that's intentional, and this very well could have been intentional. In fact, I'm almost positive it was. Hala is too good to have made a mistake to make her sound like she was stumbling. But I can't help but like immediately draw that conclusion that like, oh, that felt like a lyrical stumble. I feel like it was just the way it was written though. So in all likelihood, that's just my mind screaming, oh, that's a mistake, when in actual fact, it really wasn't.
Find me on my warpath. Martial law, what I saw calls for a bloodbath. Make them pay her for head, I'll save the day, shoot them dead. Let you get away with your crimes, or you can taste the lead. Strike team, traded for armies, but you are who armed me. Harm family can't be forgiven. One solution, don't care what others think. I'll do what we have to do, I'll step far beyond the brink.
Now that I heard it the second time, I don't think it really was. I think I'm going to retract that statement. I don't think that it nearly was as bad as I thought it was. The can't be forgiven part had to be elongated, and the next bar after that just felt changed. Like the flow felt changed. And I think that I just didn't hear it properly. And so my mind immediately jumped to that conclusion. That might also have been caused by the fact that she's trying to sing in Caitlyn's accent, which I don't know how hard that is, but it is a noticeable difference from what she's normally doing. Like Hala has an accent, but you don't hear it very much in most of her songs. She is purposefully trying to interject Caitlyn's like rather prominent accent into her song. So maybe just the enunciation of that caused something to make me think she stumbled, but she really didn't after hearing it the second time.
No going back now, no backing down, control the crowd. On the underground, we'll shake down your playground. Take down precarious fake crowns, no way out. Team feels safe, how she can't keep you safe now. I will get my justice, I will get my revenge. Pry it from your cold dead hand, seeing red. No regret, level head, it's all making sense. Once I'm done, you won't have anything left.
I like that. That definitely focused on most of Caitlyn's act 1 and 2 of season 3 arc. It didn't really, I didn't really catch too much of the end part of Caitlyn's arc, where like most of that was focused on her anger towards Jinx and the fact that Jinx killed her mom. I didn't really get much about the fact that like she didn't quite forgive Jinx for that, but at the very least let the anger go. Most of that was definitely focused on her anger towards what happened between Zaun and Piltover in the aftermath of Jinx killing her mom, and the fact that Jinx killed her mom in the first place. Like that was very much the angry, vengeful Caitlyn coming out during that rap. It would have been nice to have seen a little bit more connection with Vi in that song, in that little part, because one of the biggest aspects of Arcane was Caitlyn and Vi's relationship. So I like the fact that Hala managed to capture like the anger and frustration and the tactical mind of Caitlyn. But the one thing that wasn't added, which probably came down to just time, and we'll probably get that in the actual Caitlyn song, is the emotional connection between Caitlyn and Vi and how both characters evolved because of each other. So I'm hoping that that comes through with Hala's song.
Get stopped. If you ain't with it, then you're gonna get dropped. Not with the antics, if you are, you're ending up. You thought you wrote the story, but I'm changing the plot.
The family wants me to paint a town of load on Oxy in red. Feeling more like a Jill Scott, I'm feeling golden instead. These men are quick to raise their arms, I'm weaponizing my head. Pours Madonna, rich in spirit, do my bidding instead. Black rose, this is black girl magic. Vibrational high, I take pleasure in the passive. I hear you out, but I ain't that type of counselor. Establish seat, oh you know no one is bouncing her. Breaking generational curses, owe it to me. In walking like Kino, never lost in the sea. Playing like tic-tac falls on the tiptoes. Inside, yeah, holding these puppet strings on the elbows.
I oh boy, Heimerdinger. I enjoyed how Frivolous Shara approached Mel. That was definitely a very broad breakdown of Mel's character and character arc in a very short period of time. I liked how it covered the complicated nature of like the reaction to the Black Rose plot. I like how she inserted the line about the fact that Kino, her brother, wasn't actually lost at sea. Or I forget if he was or not, because they flip-flopped on that narrative a couple of times. I can't remember which one was the lie and which one was the truth. But I like the fact that it was referenced. I think the line was just like Kino lost at sea. I think that's what she said, meaning that Kino did die at sea. And for Mel, it was a sea of a variety of different things. The sea of lies, sea of corruption among her family, the sea of like her mom's desperation. Like that could be interpreted by a number of different ways related to the fact that like she was lost due to all the stuff that was going on around her, just like Kino was lost while he was navigating at sea. So I like that line specifically really resonated with me and really stuck out because it was a perfect encapsulation of like what happened between Mel and her mom and the Black Rose. That's the parallel I'm drawing with it.
Hi boy, it's quite a quarrel that I walked into. It's nothing that the feline MacGyver can find a fix for. Just call me Heimerdinger, the little Einstein who always finds time to tinker while he opines the wider picture. A scientist who puts mind over magic. Any skeptic question you can imagine, you know I must dash it. Cause this the wrong heads can grab it. So why don't you pass me the gauntlet and allow me to snap it? I built this city with this committee.
I like that was very clearly like an Infinity Gauntlet theme right there. And the fact that they decided to show the, what do you call it, the Hextech gem being put into the gauntlet, similar to the Infinity Stone being put into the Infinity Gauntlet. I like, again, the visual and lyrical parallels working so well together here. I'm gonna rewind to the very beginning because I'm really enjoying Matt Foyo's rhyme scheme here.
Strings on the elbows.
My boy, it's quite a quarrel that I walked into. It's nothing that the feline MacGyver can find a fix for. Just call me Heimerdinger, the little Einstein who always finds time to tinker while he opines the wider picture. A scientist who puts mind over magic. Any skeptic question you can imagine, you know I must dash it. This crap in the stage receptor, wrong heads can grab it. So why don't you pass me the gauntlet and allow me to snap it? I built this the city, but this committee, you know it's sure. Hey, pity, they try to get me, but I'm still in the hood. And if they love the country, I'm 300 years old. I don't had enough of some centuries. I'm a prodigy, still in my primacy. Cause when I spit a progress speech, it sounds like a prophecy. And I admire all who try to wrap up on this jolly good beat. Just because it can be done doesn't mean it should be.
Ouch! That last line was harsh. I wonder if that was calling somebody out specifically, whether it be in the past or in the future, like one of the ones we already heard or one of the ones we're going to hear. Like, I don't know. Something about that line felt unusually harsh. Overall, I love the fact that the people that are on this cypher so far have been rapping in, like, attempting to rap in the voice of the characters. Like, that's Matt Foyo did a good job of emulating Heimerdinger. Like, it wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. It made you remember Heimerdinger's voice. Same with Frivolous Shara with Mel and her accent. Same with Hala CG and Caitlyn. Like, these characters have very distinct voices and personalities the way they speak. And so far, the rappers, the four that we've heard on this cypher up to this point, have done a great job of bringing their voices out and allowing them to, like, be heard in this song.
3 lanes, 6 chambers, I'm with the mafia. My clan tag, I'm sliding with a stick, mop, a hockey puck.
Ham Sandwich is perfect as Ekko. Like, if there was a character, if there was a person that you could have gotten on this to really embody Ekko, Ham is perfect.
To wrap up on this jolly good beat, just because it can be done doesn't mean it should be.
3 lanes, 6 chambers, I'm with the mafia. My clan tag, I'm sliding with a stick, mop, a hockey puck. Cause I'm born and bred, they try to lock me up.
Ham Sandwich noises, what?
Tag, I'm sliding with a stick, mop, a hockey puck. I'm born and bred, they try to lock me up. It's nothing but corruption at the top, but that ain't stopping us. The city will eat you up alive and it won't cough you up. Fish out of water, they gon' fry you up. Tilapia, topside, these crooked cops could pop you just for rocking up. I've been wide, you think they put some shimmer in my coffee cup? It's firelights 4L, and we're not for sale. The prize we seeking is peace, but we ain't got no bells. I know assassins are killers, but I am not gon' tell. If you ain't come from a section, then you do not know hell. We've been hidden in the trees like Nigel and them. Can't even try to pretend that I got a mind full of zen. Grip out the size of Big Ben, it's something like a time bomb. Runic echoes resonate like who gon' lead if I'm gone.
The Wild Thornberries bar was nuts. That's the only thing that I can think of when he said Nigel and them. The only thing I can think of was Wild Thornberries. So if I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. But, like, that was the first thing that came to mind when he said that. I'm like, that was wild. Literally. I suppose before we get into Jayce, I should talk a little bit more. Ekko, Ham Sandwich did a fantastic job of drawing all the parallels that needed to be drawn to Ekko. Like, this was a very well-crafted verse. I don't really think that Ekko got a lot of spotlight in later parts of season 2, but previously before that, you didn't really see much of him in season 1 or 2, except for, like, a handful of things to really connect him to the story. Specifically with the firelights and such, saving Vi and Caitlyn in season 1 and such. So I feel like Ekko probably had some of the most limited character interactions, and therefore the limited amount of like storytelling that could have been done in the verse, specifically because of the fact that the story didn't center around him until like really act 3 of season 2, you know? Like he was present in the story, but it wasn't until his time travel episode that he really actually got enough story to and became like the main hero, the main character to really flesh it out. And I think that was one of the failings of acts 1 and 2, is that they focused not enough on Ekko if Ekko was going to be the main hero of act 3. That's my personal take on that. I'm sure that some people might disagree with it, but like I feel like that could have been handled a little bit better so that Ekko had more relevance and prominence in season 1 and act 1 and 2 of season 2, so that way there was more material to draw from. What Ham managed to do was exceptional. But I think Ham was sort of, not to make a pun, but like hamstringed by the fact that Ekko, his storyline was limited until basically the end of Arcane.
Echoes resonate like who gon' lead if I'm gone. Storming in the palace with the passion in the talisman. Who can harness magic in the gadgets but a talisman? Holding up the hammer, I'll be locking down the lab until I'm channeling a multitude of mana in my callous hands.
Oh, hold on. Cam Steady came waltzing in here with like a military foot stomp and a massive amount of arrogance.
And it's something like a time bomb. Runic echoes resonate like who gon' lead if I'm gone. Storming in the palace with the passion in the talisman. Who can harness magic in the gadgets but a talisman? Holding up the hammer, I'll be locking down the lab until I'm channeling a multitude of mana in my callous hands. You best bet I don't need to be regal. I'm giving hextech to the streets of my people, cause I imagine a city, no pain or poverty plagues. We're on the brink of a breakthrough, so let me open the gates. Because this element is infinite in luxuries, brilliant discoveries, medically magnificent recoveries. Knew this was the future, but we never figured what it means. Look at what it's done to you, look at what it's done to me. Every universe I made a promise to prove that the beauty in our imperfections is something to lose. You know a cure for humanity wasn't part of the plan. I just want to chase the planet with my partner in hand.
That was an excellent verse that encompassed the complete origin from the beginning all the way to the end of Jayce's story. That was perfection. Everything about that felt so good. It started out with his optimism, his idealism, his desire to want to bring Hex Tech to the people to make everybody's life better. And it ended with his realization that what he was doing was dooming humanity. That was exactly what that verse needed, exactly what Cam needed to do. And I love the fact that it started off so almost, I'm not going to say self-righteous, but ignorant of the consequences of their actions, just like Jayce's story. And by the end, those consequences come back and come to take their pound of flesh. And Cam encompasses exactly what needs to happen to stop that. Like he manages to really take Jayce's story and turn it, and just like half that verse was Jayce's naivety and desire for scientific progress, and then the second half was the realization that that scientific progress was going to come at the expense of all of humanity. Like everything that Cam did there was excellent. But now we have the other side of the story. Now we have Viktor. And I think Viktor might be done by Shwabadi. I don't know if Shwabadi's let's see. No, Freshie Canal is Viktor. Okay. Shwabadi is Vander/Warwick, which is fitting because he just recently did a Warwick song. Okay. So I'm wondering if Freshie is going to try and emulate Viktor's voice, because Viktor has a very distinct accent too, or if he's just going to go about what he needs to do, which is sing and rap. Because everybody else has been trying to emulate the character, so I don't know if Freshie is going to do the same.
Lifespan could be much more than finite when my hand.
Oh, he is. I like this. I like the fact that they're trying to emulate the characters.
My partner in hand.
My lifespan could be much more than finite when my hands crank the wheels of our zeitgeist. I hijack the government's precious guidelines. There's always a choice. You just need the right mind. Leave a footprint on this planet until they snap my cane. You see, Progress Day as a reason to celebrate until the progress gets set ablaze. So I will not wait for your permission to change the world to a better place. Frankenstein, I can get in line. I'm the Jesus of your sacrifice. Your travel guide, turn your bleeding into bread and wine. So grab a bite with the people in my paradise with better lives. But hacks, tech, magic in your lab. Scared I'll turn it into profit. With access to a lab, I will turn into your prophet. Bring the apple to its branch when the core's already rotten. You have to forgive your past for a future without the coffin.
Okay, that twist was excellent. The fact that like Freshie was encompassed like, you know, Viktor from season 1 where he was like sick and hopeful but still cautious and at the same time still trying to progress, still tinkering away. And then after having the revelation of the Hex Tech core, basically becoming Mecha Jesus, for lack of a better term, and being like, I'm not going to wait for your permission. I'm going to do this my way because this is the only way to do this. I do wish that Freshie Canal came before Cam Steady in this. I would have liked to, if I was to restructure this, I wish that after hearing what Cam did with Jayce's verse, I wish that Viktor had come first and then Cam came second, because I feel like that would have been like a perfect conclusion. Like leading up to it, like it, you know, Viktor was the one who like set everything in motion, and Jayce's storyline was a response to that. Viktor's the one who created the Hex Core. Viktor's the one who got corrupted by the Hex Core. Viktor's the one who mutated the Hex Core to a point where like it basically became indistinguishable from him, and he was able to use that power to augment people. Jayce was the one who saw that augmentation after it happened and started trying to end it. Like, I genuinely wish that Viktor and Jayce's parts in this cypher were switched, because I feel like that would have been like a fitting portion there. And also, I'm not sure if I like actually believe this or not, but I kind of wish that Cam said he was the last one. I wish that Viktor and Cam had been the last two on this. We've only gotten through like the first 2/3 of this, so there's still chance for me to change my mind, but I wish Viktor and Jayce had been the last two parts of the cypher. I feel like that would have been fitting, because the way Jayce ends things is basically more or less how the show ends, with the exception of, you know, Ekko sitting there and everybody like recovering from what happened, and Piltover and Zahn forming a committee and stuff like that. Like that part obviously doesn't change, but in terms of like the grandiose part of the storyline, the part that like really matters, I feel like it ends with Viktor and Jayce, and I wish that the cypher ended with Viktor and Jayce. And now we get to Singed, which this is going to be wild because Zach B's the one who's doing this.
We walk the line of two different sides, not too empathetic for the people who don't even try. Cautionary tales can be evil, got my reason why. Loneliness is often just a product of a gifted mind.
So this is clearly the only one so far that isn't trying to emulate the voice of the character, which is fine. Singed is kind of like, Singed has an accent, and I don't know, Zach may have tried to emulate the accent and just said, nah, I'm just going to do it. And that's fine. Like, not everybody has to emulate the accent. The fact that people have up until this point is like, they're just going above and beyond. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if they didn't do the voices, it would take away from their part in the cypher. It just makes it stand out a little bit more from most cyphers, because these guys are actually trying to be the characters.
But then you have to forgive your past for a future without the coffin.
I'll say one last thing I want to say about Viktor is I know a lot of people don't like Viktor's design from Arcane. I personally do. I like the fact that Viktor's like face is split between the mask, but you can still see the person underneath, what he used to be. I personally really enjoyed Viktor's design from Arcane. I thought it was a true semblance of his evolution into the near godlike figure he became. But still with the call back to what he once was. I know that a lot of old school League of Legends players don't enjoy that. Personally, as someone who's only casually played League of Legends and who did main Viktor when I did play, I really enjoyed Viktor's storyline, and I really enjoyed his overall transformation. I thought it was a really good touch for this.
We walk the line of two different sides, not too empathetic for the people who don't even try. Cautionary tales can be evil, got my reason why. Loneliness is often just a product of a gifted mind. Infinite wisdom, yeah, I stand on business. Went through hell and haven't made it back. But I am not the victim, but the thesis is never show weaknesses. Keep it consistent. How do you expect them all to keep it when there's no conviction? I've got my own ideals, and you might understand a fraction of what I reveal. Look, I just put it into practice if it's how I feel. Not too much left they can steal. Promise to you that you'll heal. I've done the most that I can, but I'm still not even sure of it. Never felt this kind of pain before, but still enduring it. Always making progress, and at least that's reassuring. If there's anyone who can, I know it's me who finds a cure for death.
Power.
Wait, who's doing Silco? Kind of forgot Silco was in this. Oh, Connor's doing Silco. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Zach, I really liked how Zach managed to continuously reference the death and rebirth through twisted science aspect of Singed. Because that was basically his whole motivation. The entirety of his character arc was basically the evil scientist try and solve death. So try to solve the problem of death. I like the fact that Zach didn't stray from that. That was the entirety of Singed's like story, just so that way he could save his daughter. And I found that to be very, very cool that Zach managed to basically stay on target with that. Everything that Singed did was a means to an end. And Zach's entire verse basically covered that pretty well. He strayed from time to time, but always managed to find his way back on course with the next line. Like, and I feel like that's important, because there were points where like Singed's goals, he was always trying to figure out how to cure death. But he used other experiments that other people basically commissioned him for, like Silco or Mbessa, to bring himself to a new resolution to eventually get to that point. Like, reviving Warwick and Viktor was never part of that plan until he realized what Viktor was becoming, and how the two of them could help each other to sustain themselves and overcome death. Like, he augmented his plans to fit the need, and that's what Zach did with this line. He with this entire verse, he would augment where the flow was going and where the lines were going to get back on track, just like how Singed did with all of his experience.
Sure, and if there's anyone who can, I know it's me who finds a cure for death.
Power. Real power only comes to those who do anything to achieve it. I was cast into the deep end, but not defeated. Forged in the water, reborn, and I shed my weakness. Let me tell you of the vilest secret. The power of peace lies in the violence used to keep it. Defend your throne with the iron hand that has seized it. Change will be needed, lest history be repeated. Pay no heed to the feelings, they just divert our attention. I tend to aim for the peak, no fun in murdering henchmen. You may gain my respect, but never earn my affection. If you're not in first, then you're not worthy of mention. Zorn is a sea, we stack bodies for the buoyancy. Many greater men than you have tried to foil me. Chem barons, topside, and old friends annoyingly. But I still believe in loyalty.
The only thing that I will say about the Silco line that I would say is negative isn't even what got Connor's fault. And that is that Silco died in season 1. And only was like his impact, obviously, everything that happened, primarily through Jinx, was a result of his manipulations through season 2. But I really was devastated when Silco died at the end of season 1, because Silco was one of my favorite characters in that show. He was a character that just screamed ambition and screamed like the desire to progress through any means necessary. And despite the fact that he was an antagonist, he was one of the best written characters in the show. And the fact that he died was poetic justice and it needed to happen, and it was going to happen eventually. I just wish he had survived through season 2 to continue his machinations just a little bit, so that way things could go off the rails just a little bit more than they did. Like, in my mind, if Arcane had 3 seasons, I would have like killed Silco off in the middle part of season 2. So that way, not only would he have had more screen time, but also he would have been able to push things even further than they went. And probably would have messed up even more. Unfortunately, Arcane only was scheduled for 2 seasons. And I feel like that was one of the big hindrance for acts 2 and 3 of season 2, where like some of the storylines felt disjointed and discombobulated and rushed. If Arcane had 3 seasons, I feel like that wouldn't have happened. I feel like that would have been a lot more cohesive. And I think that if it had 3 seasons, Silco would have played a bigger role because he would have survived until season 2. I feel like that genuinely would have mattered. Like, season 1 was perfection, but like if there was one thing that bothered me about season 1 that I wish could have changed, because I would love to see how it would have changed the overarching storyline, it would have been that Silco survived, either through Singe saving him or resurrecting him or something. Like, Silco like got medical treatment, managed to avoid like getting shot entirely. Like, something should have happened, and Silco should have been brought back for part of season 2. So if there's one thing that bothered me about the line that Connor did, the entire verse that Connor did, it was that he was working with limited resources because he only had 1 season and a handful of like bits and pieces here or there in season 2 to really work with. He did a great job, and if this was an Arcane season 1 specific rap, that would have been perfect. But including Silco in the season 1 and 2 rap means that you only have a little bit of season 2 to work with. And that's a tragedy, honestly.
First things first, you're the greatest thing I've ever achieved. You've made me prouder than I ever could dream. They want to keep us underground, and so I planted the seeds. And now I see expanding branches of our family tree. I want you to grow through the cracks that we're breaking the walls. You know I'll be there to catch when you're taking the fall. Like your stubbornness and heart were perfect gifts from your mother. The greatest gift the world will ever give you is each other. Now I hate my girls have got to pay fee. I want to change the world, but now the world changed me. I pray that we can leave in this place, but now I only pray that I can keep the beast in the cage. Stuck between the love of my daughters and lust for the blood and the slaughter. Please cut me free and be brave, cause I just was about to be saved.
I like the fact that I think we're ending with Jinx, which actually makes me wonder, like, why didn't they include Mbessa? Because Mbessa would have been a fantastic character to have covered. I kind of wish that they had included Mbessa in this. I love the callbacks. If you've seen either my reaction to it or the actual song to the Warwick rap that Shwabadi released a couple weeks ago, then like you might have noticed a few references, a few like things about that rap that showed up here, specifically the very end when he's talking about Warwick. Like, the tone, the violence in his voice, and some of the lyrics actually came from that rap, which I thought was really cool. It kind of like made it more cohesive, and it also makes me hope that when I get to the Hala CG song about Caitlyn, that she did something similar where she tied some of the lyrics from this into the Caitlyn song. My fingers are crossed for that. Expertly executed. I genuinely don't think that anybody could have pulled off a Warwick rap better than Shwabadi in terms of like the overall vibe and violence that he interjected, and he brought that back for this, and that was awesome. But now I believe it's Chi-Chi as Jinx. Yes. And I'm still wishing that we had an Mbessa line. I know that would have pushed this way past the 9-minute mark, but I do still wish that we had an Mbessa like section to this.
What's another life lost? What's the cost of blood on my hands? Like you'd understand. I'm tearing apart at the seams where I stand. Let the bullets rain on down. Watching on his pain. Your secret turn to glitter. Now you made your vow. Make your vow. Bring this whole world down. Let the flare fly. It's on the air.
hang on, hang on, hang on. I'm gonna let this play out. Does Chi-Chi have a or not a Chi-Chi, a Jinx song for Arcane? Specifically Arcane Season 2? Is that something that Chi-Chi has? I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything, which is disappointing because I think Chi-Chi would be fantastic for a Jinx song. That verse was fire. Oh my god. Everything that I would have ever wanted in a Jinx verse, Chi-Chi delivered. That was a great way of ending the cypher. I still personally think, like, from a storytelling perspective standpoint, that the cypher should have ended with Viktor and Jayce. But considering the fact that Jinx is the most popular character from Arcane, it makes sense that she was the final character of the cypher. So it could have ended either way. Ultimately, though, that was excellently done by everybody. Everyone did a fantastic job. And I know this reaction has been going on for a while, so I'm going to not talk too much longer. Go check this out. Go run this up. This was incredible. But without further ado, I'm going to wrap this up because, oh my goodness, this has been going on for almost 40 minutes now. That's 2 40-minute reactions releasing today. Oh my god. Okay, thank you for joining me. I am Markf12, and I will see you in the next video.